ladies, welcome to Now House Rock. I am your teacher for the next 2 days, and we're going to start from the absolute beginning and work our way all the way through. So my name's Mickey. What's your name?
I'm Lucy.
Hello Lucy.
Emily.
Hello Emily.
Christine.
Christine. Nice to meet you all. Is everyone okay for me to go straight in with what we're going to expect, or does anyone want to start with any questions? No, everyone's happy? Yeah? Cool. Okay, so first of all, just a few things. You've got the fire exits behind you, there's two. There's one just there, and there's one around the corner. Your fire extinguishers are just by the door, and if for any reason a fire alarm does go off, the meeting point is just over there by the bus stop. You can see the school window. Toilets are to the left, and the kitchen is just next to the toilets. If you go into the kitchen behind the door, which you will at some point today, because we're going to do a lot of health and safety, health and hygiene, whenever you work in a salon, there should always be displayed a health and safety poster, so you can go and get reference from that if at all you want to just go and have a little look and familiarise yourself with it. Okay? Yeah? So when we start, we're going to run through firstly health and safety of what you should expect in your salon, what your client should expect in your salon, that sort of thing. And then we'll do health and hygiene, so how to keep things clean and tidy and presentable. Then we'll go on to some nail anatomy, so what we need to know, basic things of our nail plate, the nail bed, that kind of stuff. It's just the basics that you need to know. We don't need to know too much about the anatomy, just literally the fingernails, and that's it. But I'll go into more detail with that. Then I'll do some prep and some demo on how to do cuticles, nail plate prep, filing the free edge down, and a bit of shaping, that type of thing. And then what'll happen is you guys will then do that, and then I'll come around and assess you, ask you some questions, and that'll give you a chance to ask me some questions, and then I can talk about product knowledge while you're doing that as well, just to get you a little bit more familiar with things like acrylic and polymers, polymerization, what they mean, because they're quite big words. Am I making sense so far? If I'm rushing, then stop me and tell me anything. Okay? Okay? Don't look too scared. It should be about 1 o'clock, and then we'll go for about an hour's break, just to give your brains a bit of a rest, because there is a lot of knowledge to take in today one. But then by the end of the day, I'll make sure that you're all prepared, ready for day 2. Okay? When you come back from your break, we'll do some more practical work. So I'll do a bit more demonstration on tip application, brushes, how to look after your brushes, cleanliness, how to look after your tools, all that kind of thing. And then by the end of the day, we can do some questions and answers, and you can ask me anything that you want to go over or you're not sure of. Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to move on to health and safety in the salon. So before I go on, does anyone want to ask me any questions?
Can I just ask?
Yes.
What level do we expect to be at when we finish the course?
What level do you expect to be at?
Yeah.
I'll probably go over that more before you leave on day 2.
Okay.
But you should really be at a confident level that you can go off as a beginner and do your basic sets of nails with confidence,
Okay.
so that you can charge a reasonable price as well. Is that okay?
Yeah.
But I will go over it more before you go home, so that you are 100% sure that you're not losing.
Yeah,
Okay?
lovely. Yeah.
Fab. So health and safety in the salon. In your manuals on page 17, from page 17 to page 22, you need to really read this when you're at home. So when you go home tonight, just have a little read through it, because you have an exam at the end of it as well. So all the information in there in full detail you will need for your exam at the end of the day. Okay? So there's a few pages in there, so just skim over that for me. But for health and safety in the salon, really, you are thinking of accessibility for clients. So let's say a client that's in a wheelchair, do you have the facilities for that kind of thing? You have to think of a lot more things in a salon as if you would if you were at home. People expect different levels of professionalism in different environments. You need to make sure that your fire exits are well signposted, so everyone can see where the fire exits are. Obviously, and if you do go into a salon where you're employed, make sure you speak to your employer and they give you all the information on health and safety, who the first aider is, where the first aid box is situated, because at any point you might need to know that, okay? Especially with clients as well, because they want to know that they're in safe hands when they come into your salon. Let me just move on over. Okay, so in your salon, it should be well lit. So if you look further over into my salon, you can see we've got daylights, light lamps over there, and in here, and then we have overhead lights as well, because you're doing quite intricate work, so it can put a lot of strain on your eyes, so you need really good light. Working at home, if you're working in, say, your conservatory, it's quite good light compared to working in your dining room, which is not very good light, it's quite dark, so that will put a lot of strain on your eyes over a period of time. So that's really important. You need to make sure it's well ventilated, so you want windows or doors, you want something that's going to circulate some air throughout, because you're dealing with dust particles, harsh chemicals, vapours, fumes, that kind of stuff. Okay? Let's go on to... I just want to quickly say as well, when you're dealing with harsh chemicals, especially in a salon, you need to know how they dispose of their chemical products, because it'll be different everywhere. Ideally, you want to be soaking anything like acetone, barbicide, so the harsher products, they do not go down the drains. You want to soak them in a tissue and then put them in a yellow bin bag, so it's a safe bin bag for them to be disposed of. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Can they just be thrown with the regular rubbish, or do they need to go, if you're home-based, for example, do you have to register with the council to have a, I don't know, hazard waste bin and stuff?
I would say so, yeah. Yeah, you can do, because they will issue it to you anyway, because the chemicals are so harsh. You're not going to want to really mix and mess around with that.
Okay.
But again, that's where your insurances and all that will come into it as well. But I'm going to go through that in more detail on day 2. Is that okay with you? Does that make sense? Yeah? If you get confused with what I'm saying, then just ask me as many questions as you need to. So, due to handling harsh products, you will need to wear safety protection. So you're looking at wearing gloves, you want an apron to protect your clothes, because you don't want any harsh chemicals burning your clothes or your uniform. So you can see I always wear an apron, because we've got glues that burn, you've got acid-based primers, they burn. Barbicide, obviously, it's a harsh chemical as well, and acetone, that can be really harsh to your skin as well. So anything like that, you do really want to protect yourself. When you're dealing with filings, if you're going to be going into using electrical e-files, you need goggles, because when you're doing electrical on a plastic-based product, it can flick up and go into your eyes. And as nail technicians, we need to protect our eyes, because we need them and we need our hands, so it's really important that you look after yourself. Okay. Also masks, because of the fine dust. And if you're working in a salon, there's going to be multiple nail technicians. So you want to make sure that, again, with well ventilation, face mask, that you're looking after yourself when you're breathing, because it can prevent things like asthma, irritations, dermatitis, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah? Excellent. So electricals, you will obviously have your overhead lights, and you'll have LED lamps, you'll have electric files, and a lot of wires. So you need to make sure that they're out of the way, no one's going to trip over them, make sure they're pack tested, and everything is clean and tidy, so you don't end up with anyone tripping over anything.
What does a PAT stand for?
PAT is portable appliance testing. So it just makes sure that people can come in, check that everything's working correctly, it doesn't cause any fire hazards, or dodgy electricals and cause a fire, basically. So is everyone happy with health and safety in the workplace? Yeah. So we're going to move on to health and hygiene. So we're going to cover cleanliness of your workstation. Again, really important. Same thing if you're in the salon or if you're in at home. You want to make sure that when your clients come in, you've got a nice clean towel, nice clean tissue, everything's set up nicely. You've got your barbicide, which I'll explain a little bit more in a second, sterilising sprays, and everything organised and just looking neat and tidy, and that you're presentable as well. Because that will impress clients when they walk through the door, that you're very well organised and professional. Okay, so that's really, really important. Sanitisation and sterilisation, the difference between the two is sterilisation is like 99.9% clean. So that will be things like soap and water is the best one I can explain. Because if you imagine washing away bacteria, you want to wash it off of your metal tools, wash it away from any products that you're using, and then you've got sanitization. So we use sprays for that. For this example, these are isopropyl-based alcohol sprays. So we use these on nail files, or we use them to clean the dust off the desks, or maybe clean the chairs down, that kind of thing. Anything where you've had a really busy day and people have been in and everyone's touching everything. You know, it can get a little bit grubby. So ideally, as soon as your clients walk through the door, you want to be asking them to wash their hands, make sure you wash your hands, make sure you're seen to be washing your hands as well, because that impresses clients as well, to know that you're being clean and keeping everything else clean. Okay? So personal hygiene, you want to make sure your hair's tied back. You don't want hair kind of going in the way while you're working. It can be really unprofessional and also be uncomfortable for the client. Not everybody likes that. So keep everything nice and tied back. If you could just turn in your manual to page 6, there is the natural nail anatomy, which I'm going to run through. This is the basic stuff that we need to know about the nail bed and the nail plate. Okay, so you will see that you have everything's labelled. You've got the free edge, the nail plate, the sidewalls, the nail grooves, all these big words. The one that confuses everyone the most is the hyponychium. The hyponychium is the skin that sits between the nail plate and the nail bed. So that's like the protective skin. If we break that skin, it can cause infection. So it's really important to remember that, because again, this might come up in your exam at the end. The nail walls, or the lateral folds, they're called, they're there to protect the side of the nail plate and how it plays. You've got the matrix area, which is everyone's favourite word. Excuse me. The matrix is where the cells are formed and the nail is made. So as they grow and the cells are renewed, they push out through into the nail plate, creating. There's around 100 layers of the nail plate. Think of it that way. There's very fine, very thin layers. Okay. So when this area is stimulated, the cells move faster, so the nail will grow quicker. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions? Just stop me. Can you see the word lungular? Yes? So that is basically the half moon. Most people know it as the half moon. So if you imagine the matrix and the lungular, it all makes up one set. Yeah? Then comes the nail bed, which sits under the nail plate. That is the fleshy part of the skin. So that's what the nail plate is purposely protecting. Is that nail bed under there, the soft tissue, if you like. So we never ever want to go into soft tissue. We have to be really careful. It's our job to protect those areas and keep everything healthy. Okay. The nail grooves, that's just where the free edge finishes from sidewall to sidewall. So it's a good indication as well. So when we're teaching filing techniques, I'll always refer back to the sidewalls and the nail grooves, so that it becomes their muscle memory, so you know what it is. Okay. The eponychium, so people get confused with the hyponychium and the eponychium. If you imagine the hyponychium at the front and the eponychium at the back. The eponychium is the skin that sits behind the cuticle. That's the bit of skin that we can't cut away. So if you're doing a manicure process, you're going to cut the dead skin away, the dead cuticle away. You're not going to touch the eponychium. Okay? But again, in your manuals, there's full details in there of the eponychium. You can always refer back to what they are. If anybody ever asks you, if a client asks you and you're not sure, you have it to refer back to all the time. Okay? So, has anyone got any questions they want to ask me? Does anybody know anything about consultation forms? Not familiar with consultation forms? So if a new client comes into you, you're going to want to sit down with them, obviously introduce yourself, explain about the treatment and how it works. You'll have a little form that you get them to fill out, make sure if they've got any nail diseases or nail disorders, that type of thing. Are they on any medication? What's their favourite nail polish, gel polish, colours that they like. So that every time you come back in, you've got a full list of information for that client. And again, when they come in, they'll know that you're professional because you have the right information and you'll remember them. And they'll like that as well. Okay? I think if you let me just find the manual. Nail diseases and disorders. Has anyone ever heard of paronychia? Again, lots of big words, but paronychia is basically a fungal infection to the nail plate. It's a really common one in our industry that we come across all the time. That's why I like to cover it to start with. Paronychia, it can go like a green colour discoloration. If you've ever seen it, have you ever seen our friends going where? Yeah. So what causes that is bad prep work and bad application. So then the acrylic will lift from the nail plate. So water can get in there, so it's a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. So then it changes colour, so it gives it that discoloration, like green colour. So the best thing to do for that, because we can treat it, it's fine, it's quite easy to treat, you just remove the enhancement, you clean the nails down, they'll wash their hands, and you can refresh your prep work and start again. So our job is to basically kill any bacteria that's on that nail.
And then we can work on it.
You can work on it as long as it's dry and it's clean and sterile. Okay? I'm just going to get to nail diseases and disorders, because there are quite a few. If there's anything you're not sure of, if you have a client that comes to you and you think, I'm not sure what that is, we're not doctors, so we don't have to diagnose anyone. Definitely don't ever suggest to a client that it could be something that you think it might be, because we don't want to scare them. So the best thing you can do is say, I'm really not sure what that is. If you could see your GP, then come back to me and let me know. That's the best thing you can do, really, because obviously sometimes we don't know what we're dealing with, especially if you're not familiar with it. You've got lots of things like leukonychia. It's a hard word, isn't it? But if you see in manuals again, it breaks the words down. Leukonychia. Okay, so these are white spots on the nails that cause like a sharp impact. So someone's banged their hand really hard, or someone's got a heavy job, those types of things. It can cause like air pockets in the nails. So from the matrix where the cells are made, if you're going to knock this area around, or if you're, like say you're moving house for instance, and you're going to bash your fingers around a little bit, it can distort the growth of the nail, causing air pockets, which are like white spots. Okay, so things like that. Some people call them calcium milk spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you've got facts and fiction. So that's basically fiction. And then eating things like jelly, again fiction. So we're looking at facts, scientific facts, and what's true and what's not true. Okay, so you're going to set yourself up for the rest. You've got hematoma. So you see it's really black. It looks really black and really, really bruised. It's an injury of the nail bed. It's like a blood clot, basically, so it does look like a bruise. Personally, again, we wouldn't work on this. You would say, please go and see your GP. Even though you would know, because your logic thinking would say, well, you need this to grow out, so you need a healthy nail to work on, because it's been damaged by whatever reason it's been damaged, so you don't want to go and put harsh products on it and cause more damage, because then they could always come back to you and blame you for causing more damage. So you don't want that. And again, client consultation cards will cover that. If you're not sure and you get the pushy client, you make sure that they sign everything, that you've written it all down, that they're clear, they're happy for you to work on you. But you've said, I'm not 100% sure, but if they're going to be pushy and they want that treatment done, because clients can be very, very demanding, and that's what they want. So you need to make sure that all sign client consultation card, and then you're covered and safe in health and safety. Any questions on this?
Did these like consultation forms?
Consultation forms? Sorry, where do you get them?
Where do you go?
So you get suppliers like Sally's, some suppliers, even online. They're really accessible now. You can get them in bulk for quite a cheap amount of money, because now it's there's a lot of data protection that came out recently, so you have to have all that information in there. So they're really easy to get hold of. Keep them in your salons or your home salons, and just make sure that you get into the routine of, when your client comes in, they go and wash their hands, then you can get your card ready for when they come back and sit down, and then they can fill it out while you go and make them a cup of tea. So everything it just runs smoothly, and that's okay. It took you a while to get into it, but you will get into it quite easily. Okay, I think I'm going to do a small demo. I just want to show you how you're going to prep a nail from the cuticle area and the free edge, and then you guys will go on and do a practical as well. And I can come around and assess it with you, and just go on to a few more other points that I'd just like to make, so it makes more sense. So we can just dissect everything down thoroughly. So there's a lot of information when it comes to health and hygiene, health and safety, and we will go through it more and more over the next 2 days, and just so that you're really aware of what I'm trying to explain to you. And then we'll touch base again on page 13 and 14 when we come back on day 2, just to make sure that you understand what the concept is. Happy with that? Yeah? Okay, excellent. If I could use anyone that doesn't have nails done, so any, I'm going to use your fingernails. Is that gel polish or nail polish? Gel polish. Okay. So just an example, if a client was to come in to your salon and you never met them before. So Emmy's gone off and she's washed her hands, and I've washed my hands, and everything's sterile. Have a look. So you have gel polish on. Normally, 9 times out of 10, your client will always have a nail polish on or a gel polish on, so we need to remove it safely. Because obviously you're not going to be qualified in electric files, you're just going to be filing and soaking. So the best thing to do is you need to file off the high shine, that's the top coat, because our acetone doesn't penetrate through the top coat. Acetone is our remover, which is just acetone. There's no other ingredients in it, it is purely acetone. That's all it is. Okay, so we just use that for removing acrylics and gel polish. Okay, so this shine, I'm just going to remove. Because let's say we're going to go from a gel polish to a full set of extensions. We're going to need to re-prep that natural nail underneath.
Right, I think I'm all booked in.
Can you see where the gel polish is broken through to the natural nail? Yeah? So because it's quite thin, I don't actually think I need to soak this. I'm just going to remove it with my file because it will probably take me longer to soak it than it will to file. Okay? Bearing in mind I need to keep the natural nail safe, so I don't want to overfile that. Okay? So as soon as I hit that natural nail, I'm just going to stop and move to a different area. Okay, move my file around. My nail file, I'm going to use a 180 grit file when you're using it on a natural nail. You don't want anything really, really harsh.
So nobody did it.
Can you see it coming off? Yeah, flaking off nicely. Be careful of the skin, so your angle of your file is really important.
They was just saying now.
Can you see from where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah? If you want to come closer, you can. So that's quite easy to remove. See that? Okay. Lovely. So I'm just going to clean that down. Spray some sterilizer. So this is just alcohol-based sterilizer. And if there is any bacteria on that iron plate, then we can just get rid of it with that spray as well. So everything's clean, all the way from the start right to the finish. Making sure your tools are clean as well, so you see I've got my barber side here. When you get barber side, you want to make sure that you dilute it correctly. If you dilute it incorrectly, it has a reverse effect, so it doesn't actually work. So you need to really follow manufacturer's instructions on that. Okay, make sure it's diluted correctly. That's one of the big things in salons that generally people get confused with. So the first thing we're going to do is push back the cuticle area. So holding the finger firmly, so I've got full control of that finger. I'm going to push the cuticle back just gently. That my cuticle pusher is at 45-degree angle, not a 90-degree angle, and it's less flat. If it was flat, it would skim across the top and could cause a lot of damage. If it was at 90-degree angle, I can push down, and that would be uncomfortable for the client as well. So I'm just going to go in at a 45-degree angle. Not too much pressure, because I want to let the tool do most of the work for me. And then you can see the skin starting to flake off the nail plate. So if there's any skin on the nail plate, that can cause a barrier between your acrylic and your nail plate adherence. So you won't adhere to its full potential. So we need to remove that. So the natural nail consists of lots of natural oils and water. And it's our job really to dehydrate that nail as much as we can. So we need to take the oils out and the water out, because again, acrylic won't adhere to a nail plate if it's oil-based or wood-based. Okay? So like I said before, the nail plate is naturally made up of about 100 layers. So really we're only skimming the surface of the top 5 layers, which really isn't a lot of the grand scheme of things. Okay? So we can remove most of that skin. You see the little scrapey handle on the other end? You can use that to get into any difficult corners where the skin is not coming off the nail plate. See it coming off? Yeah. So again, this is quite intricate work, so you want to make sure you've got good lighting. You can see exactly what you're doing with full control. You should have like a little duster brush that you can dust it off with, but because I don't have one to hand, I'm just going to use some tissue and just wipe off the excess stuff. And then you're going to do the same thing on all 10 fingers. So usually I always have a uniform way of working. So I always start from the first finger, the little finger, and work my way across. Unless you're left-handed, and then obviously going to work the other way. Okay, so I'm going to do cuticles on all 10, then I'm going to come back to the first one, and then I'm going to do free edge, and then I'm going to do nail plate. So I'm going to scuff the nail plate surface. So at the moment, if you look really closely, if I wiggle that around, you see the shine that bounces off the nail. So I need to remove that shine. Okay? So it's a free edge. Curve it round. Be very careful, again with my file, I'm going at a 45-degree angle. If you see with my nail files, I've got like a sponge centre bit, so this is my safety bit if you look at it like that. So whenever I work at 45 degrees, that sponge will always hit the skin rather than the file. When these are new, they're like razor blades, they're really, really sharp. So be really careful when using it on a client. You don't cut anybody's skin, that's what we're trying to avoid. You see when I hold a finger, I'm going to pull the side walls, the lateral folds down quite tightly. So I've got a really firm grip on that finger. So if I'm going to hit anyone's skin, I'm going to hit my thumb instead of my finger. Okay? And then I can feel my own pressure. I'm going to go up very slowly, nice and controlled, not too crazy. Around the back of the cuticle, across the top of the nail plate, and then come down the other side. So I flick my file around and bring it down softer. So that sponge of that file just falls in line with the side wall and the cuticle. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And at the same time, the knife will be naked, no matter where it is.
No, I'm just going to make sure it's full of dust. The nail plate. There's still a little bit there on the nail plate. If you're not sure, you can always come back to the first nail and just go through them all and just double check that you've got all your skin on the nail plate, that you've filed it enough, that you've etched it enough. So the end result that you're looking for is like a nice white chalky look. So it looks dry, and that's what we want. So then if I roll it now, that light isn't bouncing off the nail plate. And you have to get really close down, because if our product is going to go down on top of that natural nail and stop about there, that's as far as I need to file that nail drop. Because if I miss anywhere, it's just going to cause lifting, so it's going to cause separation. And then again, that's when we can get things like paronychia and fungal infections. So we need to keep everything nice and tight, nice and clean, from the base all the way up. Okay? And what I'm going to get you to do is, if you can show everyone that nail, I want you to just look really, really closely of how tight that is around the skin. So again, I'm going to do that on all 10 fingers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get you guys and have a go on the cells, or have a go on each other, and you can do it on me if you like, if you want to. Are you comfortable to do that? Yeah? How do you feel so far? You're happy? Does it make sense? Yes. So if I have, let's say, a nail biter, and they have really thick cuticle area, and I needed to cut that cuticle, and it was going to get in the way of my application, you would use your cuticle nippers
done your manicure courses, your cuticle
Yeah.
removers, so you would do that. You would take the skin, because you don't want it to get in the way again of the application, because as soon as product sticks to skin, it will just lift in the first 24 hours. It's not going to last very long at all. And then we get problems with clients coming back, which then doesn't help for your time if you've got to replace. And then you just want to make sure that you're keeping that distance from the cuticle area. Okay? So you agree with that? Yeah? Okay, so we can go on and do your